And we continue here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm Shawn Meyers, now joined by the head coach of the Burrell Buccaneers, Shawn Liotta. First off, Shawn, thank you for doing this. And I know that you have to be very excited with how your team's performed so far this season, winning your first two contests, including a thriller against Deer Lakes last week. What have you seen so far that's led to this success?
Well, Shawn, we appreciate, you having me on and the Westmoreland Sports Network, everything you guys do to cover sports in the county. I mean, it's huge. But for us as a program, obviously we're happy to be 2-0. We're not satisfied. We've taken it week by week. That's our approach. And, we have another one this week with Valley, which is a big rivalry game. So we're looking forward to that. But just extremely proud of the kids. Kids get the credit for all of our success. And, certainly very proud of the efforts they've put in.
Well, you said proud of the efforts. It seems like you have embraced this Burrell program since you've come there. You can see from the background you have right now, you're all about Buccaneers football. It was not a storied tradition, quite frankly. It's a football program that's maybe not known for being year in and year out one that competes, but you're trying to change that. You've done a good job, including making the playoffs last year. How have you seen it grow throughout your time since you've joined Burrell?
Well, yeah, there is a tradition. You look back, Shawn, there's 2 WPIAL championships, which is great. But in recent years, there hasn't been quite as much success. And that's something we want to change. And it all comes down to, getting all of your athletes out for football. I think we've done a great job we've got really strong roster numbers. We've got like 45 kids on the team. We've averaged around that number the last 3 or 4 years. My first season there, we had 19 players on the team. So, that just kind of shows you have to get, kids involved. And really, for us as a program, honestly, my second year here, we went 6-4 and we missed out on the playoffs on a tiebreaker to Mount Pleasant, or else we would have been in the playoffs then. And then, the COVID-19 year as well, we probably would have went in had they took the full amount of teams. So, we like where we're at. Obviously we made the playoffs last year. That was great. We had a brutal schedule to start the season, kind of put us in a hole there, but, our kids never wavered, and that's probably the cool thing. And maybe something that, to think about is we're 2-0 now. We're doing the same things we did last year and we were 0-6. We're practicing the same way. We're preparing the same way. The difference is, the kids are out there executing and making those plays. And, that's why the kids get all the credit, not to disappoint any, high school football fans out there, but kids matter. Players matter. If you have players and you have guys that are tough and guys that work hard, you're going to put yourself in a good situation. And we certainly have, very tough, hard-nosed, physical football players here at Burrell, and that's the reason we're off to a 2-0 start.
How important was it to make the playoffs last year? Because you mentioned the record for the season as a whole was not pretty, but you get in with a late surge. I know that the playoff game didn't go the way you wanted, but that experience, what does that mean for these players and for the program as a whole?
Oh, that was probably as proud of any team as I've been when those kids were able to get into the playoffs, because, you start your season that way, even though it was a brutal schedule and we knew it. It was a bunch of 4A schools and just schools we had a hard time matching up with. We knew that we could win the games that we needed to get in the playoffs, and they were able to do that. So certainly was very proud of those kids for never failing to believe. And that's probably the other power in high school football of the high school coach. The role of the high school coach is to get your kids to believe. You lay out the game plan, everybody thinks it's about X's and O's and all that stuff. And that's certainly a big part of it, but it's the mindset of your team. Are you preparing your team to believe that they can win the football game? And that's a very big thing. It's a powerful thing. When you're dealing with, we're dealing with 14 to 18-year-old young men here. So, the mindset of them and do they have that swagger and do they believe that they're the best team on the field? And I think those things are all important. And that's certainly something that, our kids have bought into over the years.
At every level of football and every sport, really, do the coaches sort of stick to what they prefer to do, or do they adjust to the talent that's around them? When you came to Burrell, you had a pretty prolific passing attack. You had a quarterback in Alex Arledge who was really good. He could throw the football all around the yard. And I think that probably the numbers say that you pass more than you ran back then. It is a complete opposite right now. You were running, I don't know if you know the percentage, it's got to be somewhere 90+% of your plays are on the ground, right? So
Probably,
how have you adjusted?
Yeah, I think we're up over 103 rushing attempts, and I want to say 4 passes, and we've actually completed 3 of those passes. One was to the other team, but we did complete 3 of those. So, you do what fits your players as a high school coach. Like, hey, I love the no huddle stuff. I wrote a book on all that stuff. I've done clinics all over the world on spread, no huddle football. It doesn't matter what I believe in or what I think is the preferred system. It comes down to what players do you have? Does what you do fit your team and the makeup of your team and give your kids the best chance to win? Our kids are, as I said, hard-nosed, physical, smart, and what we do fits that. We run an offense from way, way back, and it's kind of unique. I was talking to a reporter about this earlier. Like, it's kind of like when I started running the spread, 20 some years ago, it was new. So like when you would get film of an opponent, you wouldn't even know how they were going to line up because they weren't playing in spread formations. There wasn't 4 receiver formations, 5 receiver formations. So it'd be a guessing game for you as you were kind of preparing, like, maybe they'll do this, maybe they'll do that. Now, fast forward here 20 years now, all those older coaches have retired that are familiar with these old school offenses and how to stop them and things like that. And most of the guys that you have that are coaching high school football now grew up in the spread world. So they either coached in college or played in college or high school in a spread system or a spread defense. And what I mean by that is they've played in a defensive system that is designed to stop the spread offense. Now we're running something that makes us unique. No one runs what we run, in our conference. It's difficult. It's difficult to prepare for. We have 2 tight ends out there, 3 tight ends sometimes, 2, 3 backs all the time. We're going to run the ball at you. We're going to do things that people don't like you to do. We're going to cut block. We're going to do all those different kind of things that kind of make you uncomfortable as a defense. And we have a ton of misdirection. And you add all that in, it's an offense that you might say, well, it's a little boring. It's tough to stop, and it fits our kids. So we're hoping we keep rolling with it, and it's certainly something our kids have embraced.
Well, another thing that has changed throughout your time is a year ago, you had a workhorse running back in Caden DiCaprio, and it seemed like he was getting the ball every single time that you decided to run it. This year, you have so many different guys. Obviously, Devin Beatty has flashed. He's had a good couple of games, but he's far from the only player who's contributing in the run game. So give a shout out to that. And how difficult is that for a coach, or what are the benefits of using multiple different guys all throughout the game?
Oh, yeah, we're unselfish. So our guys know whoever's going to carry the ball, be the hot hand, is going to be the one to do it. Devin Beatty had a phenomenal game last week for us, but he has that kind of ability, and he's going to continue to do that. I mean, he's a guy that should be on your radar. I mean, he's a talented kid. He really is. And I look for him to have even more big breakout games here. And you talk about the other guys. We have another kid that's only a young kid, Mason Jones, who's carried the ball very well. You have Antonio Cook, who's a senior, who's carried the ball well. You have our quarterback, Chase Fenner, who has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year. And it's unselfish, So what I mean by that is, we have guys, they don't care who scores as long as we score. We don't care about stats. Like, we do stats and all that kind of stuff, but that's not our focal point, is what our statistics are. Like, we're trying to win a football game, and I think that, again, that's the mindset. And as much credit for those guys' success, they know it, is those linemen. We've got a line that they're nasty and they get after you. And without those guys and those tight ends blocking, we have Ian Quinn and Aaron Malee kind of anchoring that line. 2 of our seniors, Cam Martin, our center, first-year kid out for football. He's been excellent there at the center position. And we have Noah Love and Luke Boylan are 2 of our other linemen, along with our tight end, Gabe Ziccarelli, another first year. kid out for football, and what we call our swing man, who's our other tight end, is Esau King Buchek. And then our little slot that we use, he's not little. I mean, we use a bunch of them, but we have Reese Kennedy, in that spot. So we've really got a lot of physical football players, and that's why this thing works. This offense doesn't work if you're not physical and you're not disciplined and you're not willing to, like our philosophy, we want 3 yards of play. We want 3 yards of play. Now, you might say to yourself, Shawn, well, 3 yards, 3 times 3, I'm good on math, but that's 9 yards. You're still short a yard. We're going for that fourth down on 4th and 1 every single time. So if we get anything above that, we make the first down. It's no problem. But we feel good about the way we play in 4th and 1. We feel really, really good about that. So that's kind of our philosophy. It's worked well for us so far, and hopefully we can continue to do it.
You're going to begin conference play pretty soon here, but you still have one more non-conference, and it's a big one, as we mentioned, the Valley Vikings. And so you're not in the same conference as them anymore, but I think that every year this is always going to be a meaningful matchup because it's neighboring school districts, it's the communities involved as well. Do you notice that your players get a little bit more geared up for this one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we try to deny it, but there's no sense denying it. It's the bypass brawl, battle for the bypass, whatever you want to call it. But I told our kids, this is a powerful thing. Our kids that are seniors, they've never lost to Valley. We've won 3 in a row. When I got to Burrell, they had lost 6 in a row to Valley. So we've been able to kind of, turn that tide a little bit, and we'd like to be able to keep that our way. We like to beat Valley. We don't want to lose to Valley. So obviously the game means something to us. We know they're a good team. Coach Hebner is doing a good job over there. They almost beat a pretty good Apollo Ridge team last week, played pretty well. They're opportunistic. They can make some plays. They can make things happen. But we just have to come out and play the way that I think we're capable of playing, and we'll be able to. I think things will go in our favor.
Lastly, you dropped down after making the playoffs in 3A. You're now in 2A, and some familiarity in terms of the opposition. But as a whole, when you look at this conference and you look at the 2A classification, what goals do you have for your team in the long run?
Our goal is to make the playoffs. I mean, we want to make the playoffs. Whatever we got to do to get in there to the playoffs, get our invite in there, we want to get in. And then from there, I think we're kind of the team you don't want to see. We're kind of that, in basketball, the Princeton type of, back in the days of they kind of ran the weird offense and the backdoor cuts and all those kind of things. And, we're kind of who you don't want to see that way because, we have the ability. If we come out and play really well, I'm telling you, we have the ability to pull off major upsets with this kind of offense because we have the ability to control that ball for a long time. And if you don't have it, you're not scoring. So, we have the capability to put together some 8, 9, 10-minute drives. We've done that, quite a bit. So we're just, like I say, game by game, Shawn. I think the conference is very good. It's going to be very challenging to make the playoffs in. You've got a lot of teams that really are playing at a high level, have a lot of athletes. That's probably the thing that strikes me when I look at the conference. You see your Steel Valleys and your Sarahs and your Amani Christians. I mean, Amani Christian has, I joked on your pregame show at the beginning of the year about him going out and recruiting half of the, Leroy Johnson, who's a friend of mine, actually played for me in arena football before, but he'll go out and recruit half the city. And sure enough, I see he got Penn State offered another one of his kids. So he's got 2 Penn State offers at a little school with, he's got 30 kids on his roster. 2 of them are offered by Penn State. So what does that tell you?
You should see the basketball roster as well.
Yeah, they're obviously going to be a challenge, So, we'll be ready every week. We're going to come out. This week is Valley, and then we're on to Sarah Catholic after that. So we'll look forward to the challenge. It's just a great group of kids. I can't stress that enough. We have a wonderful, you can see this picture. Here's our seniors. That's actually our senior group. What a wonderful group of kids. The kids that we talked about that made the impact in the last game weren't even seniors though. Devin Beatty led us there on offense, and he's a junior. And Tristan Brothers, 16 tackles and an interception in overtime as a linebacker. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. Tristan Brothers, only a junior, all over the field. Like I said, 16 tackles and interception. I think we'll continue to see good things from him, on the defensive side. But again, we have wonderful kids. I'm proud to be their coach, proud to be the coach here at Burrell, and we're having a lot of fun, and we're hoping to keep it rolling.
Well, Shawn, continue having fun. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate you taking the time. congratulations on a good start. Make sure you keep it up the rest of 2022.
Thank you so much.
That's Shawn Liotta, head coach of the Burrell Buccaneers. We'll take a break and continue with more right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.